interviewing other experts around the globe. So I'm really excited to be interviewing the expert in my own home, and feel very privileged to be married to a professional coach, because whenever I am stuck in my career or I'm stuck in my thinking, I can just say, hey, do you have half an hour just to have a coaching conversation with me? So Reinhard has been leading and guiding people in their careers and in their stuck thinkingness, if you like, for over 30 years. And he's worked globally. He has a master's in professional coaching and specialized in innovation. And I know there's a couple of you in this session today who have been lucky enough to have been coached by him in some form or another, and can testify to what a life-changing experience that is. So Reinhard, we're really excited to have you here today, and really excited to talk to you about the topic of self-organized learning. So is there anything you...
be here too.
Is there anything you want to add to your introduction that I might have left out?
No, you did me very well, Jane. Much better than I deserve, you know. So thank you very much.
You are wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in then, and I think I love this topic so much because I think it's so critical to our day and age that we're in right now. And I was part of a global conference last week, and they talked a lot about self-organized learning, because there's a shift from employers being the people who take the responsibility for training their staff to a more shared responsibility. So even for people who are permanently employed right now, the onus isn't so much just on the employer, but people are saying, okay, I need to make sure that I stay ahead. I need to make sure that I develop, and I know more about where I want to go than other people do. Yep. So it's actually up to me. And we've even found during this time that it's not, there's actually even been a shift from employers employing us to do training and coaching to individuals taking ownership for their own growth and saying, please, can you coach me? My employer won't pay, but I will. So that's been an interesting shift we've also seen over this time. But Reinhard, maybe you can start us off by telling us a little bit about what is self-organized learning. What do we mean by that?
So Jane, there's for those who have children at school, there's a field that's called self-organized learning environments that you create in schools, and there's a whole science behind that. But when we talk about self-organized learning today, we're not talking about that per se. We're talking about literally what it means, self-organized and learning, you know, so it's the onus is on me, you know, and it is a organized way of doing things, and I want to learn stuff. So it's really as simple as it says. And I think, Jan, you summed it up really well in the meeting you had, you said earlier or last week, with you and some of your associates talked about that companies, it's not just the company, it's sending somebody on the learning. And sometimes we had that, you know, I remember 10 years ago, the question in interviews was, you know, sort of the cool question to ask is, you know, how are you going to look after my development? And I think maybe that's still a cool question, but the onus, as you have said, is shifted, is I am taking responsibility as a person also for my development, you know, and yeah, I think that is just that, you know, to make sure that you are a continual learner.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are talking about being a continual learner. And even in my field around talent acquisition and career transition, people are looking onto potential candidates or applicants' profiles. So looking at their CVs, looking at their LinkedIn profiles and saying, yes, we know you got a degree or a diploma or a certification a while ago, but what evidence is there that you are a self-organized learner and that you are involved in continuous learning? So we even have continuous professional development embedded in most industries and professions.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a little bit, Reinhard, about why you think continuous learning and self-organized learning is important.
Well, Jane, I think for two reasons, well, maybe three, but the two main obvious ones is one, to stay relevant. So careers, and we have spoke from, as in my profession as coach, I also do a lot of career coaching, and sort of, and I think that's where we linked a lot with you in recruitment and talent acquisition. There's an overlap. So for you to be relevant, you need to stay on top of the current knowledge and skills that you need to function in your career, or let's just call it job. So relevance is very important, but other than just relevance is future growth is the second thing, because the world, and we all know the story, is rapidly changing, and our children are studying things, and in 10 years time it's not even going to be relevant. Hence the point, continuously stay relevant, because in the future you want to have that great job or position, whatever it is. So you need to prepare by learning, gaining new knowledge and skills for that. So those are the two: relevant currently and planning for your future career. And my third one is maybe a little bit tongue in cheek, is to save yourself from boredom, there's some good stuff you can learn other than Netflix. Not that I love Netflix and I like my criminal series and my Tatort and everything else, but it's a good thing, to just keep that brain active and stimulated.
Yes, Reinhard, I'm not surprised you bring up the topic of boredom. For any of you who know Reinhard, you know that he can get bored pretty quickly. He's always learning something new. But I see Kaz also really resonated with your point, Reinhard, around remaining relevant. And we've seen, especially during this time, that what was relevant at the beginning of the year isn't necessarily relevant anymore. And even in our global conference last week, we talked about how important learning is, and that it must meet the needs of you and of your clients, and that it must be in line with your values. So Reinhard, what are your thoughts on that, and on how important this kind of self-organized learning is for everyone? I mean, is it for everyone, for all industries, or just for some? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, Jane, it really is for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, it's a corporate thing. Listen, if you are doing as a carpenter and you're doing built-in cupboards and kitchens, self-organized learning is important for you just as much as it is for the HR director for some global corporation. Exactly. Because let's take it back to the carpenter fits in your kitchen cupboards. There's a new tool, there's a new way some fancy saw works. He or she, let's not be presumptuous and just say carpenters are males. He or she needs to read up on the saw, practice a little bit, because it's going to save a lot of time and money, and there's more profit if you can learn this new technique in building a cupboard, So it literally is for any industry. If you are a teacher or a director, it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is different is the content.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So Reinhard, around this topic then, if we're saying it's important, and we're saying it's important for every industry, and we're hearing this message globally at the moment, and we see people kind of scrambling, if you like, to learn. And it has been a time that's put a lot of people under pressure to learn very quickly. And I know for myself, I had to learn some things that I was putting off, that I kind of knew, I know I need to learn about more tech platforms, but I wasn't anticipating learning about so many of them in such a short space of time, or even training other people on them or how to use them. Yes. So it's definitely been a time that's put a lot of us under pressure to learn the things that we maybe didn't think we'd learn or need or didn't want to learn.
Yes.
But now there's so much information out there. There are webinars, there are courses, there are ones you pay for, there's ones that are free. There's so much out there. How do we go about this self-organized learning?
Well, Jane, maybe we should, I prepared 1 or 2 slides. Maybe we can go through that, so that talks about, how to become a successful self-organized learner.
Nice, so, tell us.
Let me go to the first question, so the first question is why? So why would you want to do it? And it's different for everybody. So you need to understand what is the relevance of self-organized learning for you as a person, for your current career, but also where you want to be. So you might be and as a career coach, I see this often. I coach people. I've coached 3 people yesterday, and 2 of them are, all 3. One was in his early 30s and the rest were in their middle 30s. And they're currently doing very well in their careers, but they're also talking about doing something else, and that's not related to their current job right now. So it's not just, learning for your current career. It's like, hey, in 5 years' time, I want to start my own thing. Or I also, I'm a teacher, but I actually wanted to become a psychologist, or I want to become a tourist agent. So you can start preparing now for something you want to do differently. So first question is why? Why do I want to do this? So, and that lines up with a longer meaning goal. So it's what do I want to do? And who am I? Those really tough sort of existential questions. But they're very important, and sometimes people say, oh, I don't like my job, and I don't. Well, okay, that could be true, but what are you going to do about it? Oh, but I can't be X, Y, Z, whatever it is. Well, maybe not now because you don't have the skills. But if you say to yourself, well, when I'm now 35, when I'm 40, I want to be, let's just make up something. I want to be a Boilermaker. I want to be a Boilermaker. For those who don't know what to do, they build tanks where your milk comes in and petrol and stuff like that. So let's just say you want to be a Boilermaker, but you're not a Boilermaker. You're a teacher at this stage. And your school is not going to teach you how to become a Boilermaker, but somehow you could say, hey, that's what I want to be. So through the next 5 years, I'm going to somehow learn and do, and maybe do a weekend course, or that I can get there, because that's my dream and that's where I want to go. So that's maybe just for your vision for your life. Or in my current career, I always want to aspire to something else. And so I do this. So the why is very important. First, you got to align that, so, and I'm talking here about long-term things. So there's a long-term why, and then there's a short-term why. And Jane, you refer to that. COVID struck. All of a sudden, we all like, now we're sitting here, right? We could have been in the convention center in Cape Town, and there'd be an audience, and there we stand. But we're standing in front of our laptops at this stage, so, and we had to learn skills for now. So there's a long-term goal, and then there's immediacy. And I think so, but that answers the why question.
Yeah. But Reinhard, I don't think that question is very easy to answer always. I mean, well, you've said things like, well, what do I want to do? And who am I? I mean, not everyone knows that. Not everyone is that in touch with what they want to do and who they really are, because so often who we are gets so many layers put on top of it that we sometimes lose touch with what's really meaningful to us. So but then what?
You're just nice to me because they need to see somebody like me, a career coach.
No, I know they do, but
and you're right,
just because you're my husband.
Yeah. But Jane, I mean, remember a couple of years ago, maybe 20, we had a conversation with somebody and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had my own
Mm.
business like I have now, and we in it together. But I was in and doing renovation, talk about carpentry, I loved it, but I didn't want to, I was 32 and I didn't see myself doing it, even if I enjoyed it. I wanted to do something different. And we had a conversation, and somebody said, Reinhard, but you did you studied psychology as an undergraduate. Why didn't you become a coach? I'm like, what's that? And you know the story. I mean, I took a year out, read a lot about it, then did some courses, then did a master's degree. But yeah, that's how you change. People are in life and they think, I don't want to be, I want to be that. But you can, and it takes some preparation. Sometimes it's easy and it just happens, but for most of it, it's a path and it's preparation, but it can be done.
Mm. But what kind of, if I'm stuck, I mean, yes, of course, one option is I speak to a coach and I get somebody to engage in that kind of conversation with me. And that I know is life-changing. I've been through that myself and I love it. And I studied coaching as well because of it.
Yeah.
But Reinhard, if somebody is kind of having a conversation with themselves, what kind of questions can you ask yourself that can help you start to dig a little bit deeper?
Okay, well, first is this question we asked now. So it could be future or what skills do I need now, more immediacy. So let's move on, So the second thing is, let's just make it more immediate, So I'm currently, so I'll take myself as an example. So currently I'm doing two things in self-organized learning. I am reading a lot about philosophy, but there's a very special way I'm doing it. So I'm reading philosophy from a guy called Socrates, doesn't really matter, sort of an old Greek guy, 2,700 years ago, 600, and I'm tracing sort of Western, philosophy and some of Eastern philosophy and Arab philosophy through the years chronologically, because I want to see how our thinking have been influenced over years. But that informs me as a coach, right? The second thing I'm doing is I'm doing a Udemy course on financial statements and reporting. I never want to be an accountant, I'm not big onto that. But one of the things, somebody said to ask me a question 3 weeks ago, and he said, Rana, do you ever serve on as a non-executive director on boards? And I said, I always thought about it and I always wanted to do it. And I thought, well, one of the skills I need to know, and I will never be the financial guy, but I need to have some just basic understanding of reporting, so I put myself on a Udemy course. It's not, I don't want to become a CA, but I need just some basic skills to help me in doing that. So yeah, what should I be learning about? Second question. And
yeah,
then,
I hear that. So I think it's for me, it speaks to what am I naturally interested in? I mean, I know you love philosophy and you love studying the way people think and different perspectives and challenging perspectives. So I know you like that, and I know that that's your interest. And I also like that it's saying, as we said earlier, and as Kaz said, it's not just about staying relevant now. It's about saying, okay, if I want to transition into something else, what do I need to be equipped with? I can't wait until then and start studying it. Yeah. Let me start studying those things now, so when I get to that point in my life or the opportunity comes up, I'm already equipped.
Exactly. No, very much so. So yeah, so you answered that. And I think that the third question you need to start asking yourself is, where do I find resources? And what is relevant and budget, because things cost money. And sometimes people say, I don't have money for further studies. What a beautiful thing that IT has given us over probably 30 years. And we both know many IT people that has never ever studied a degree in IT. but they run IT departments in companies, and they can program, they architects, how did they do it? Self-organized learning. That's how they did it, you know. And I think that's a great thing we can get from the IT industry. They are sort of light years ahead of us. And they say, hey, there's many skills you can learn without gaining a degree. Now, some professions, we know friends of ours that one was a lawyer and she's a psychologist now. Now, that meant at some stage that she had to study 3 more degrees, but not, that's more the exception. That you literally transfer a whole new field. But for most of us, it's learning skills and knowledge. It's short courses. You heard me about talking about philosophy. I'm literally reading. It costs, I mean, and some of it I'm actually listening and reading. I'm listening on Audible, which is one of other Amazon's things, because I want to trace philosophy. I mean, it's a million books, but you can do sections of it. It doesn't have to cost tons of money. Some of the courses cost more, but I mean, within your budget, you need to decide. There's different resources, and some of it is a course, a program. It could be a degree, it could be reading, but other things that, and what I have is mentors. And I think a mentor is different than a coach, and it's part of self-organized learning. So I have Professor Lowe, meet him every month, and we talk about philosophy. And I would say, Prof, what about this and that? And he would say, Reinhard, did you think about this, or go and read that? But it's part of my self-organized learning process. So that's a different resource. So things doesn't have to cost thousands of rands to learn a new skill. You need to look at your budget and say, and maybe, what you have is a small budget, but you can start. You can start now with something small and then build later.
No, I agree with you. And I think, and see, Vanessa also resonates with the concept that you find your passion and then you'll love what you do. And it's easier to learn something that you're interested in. And true, Kaz, I mean, there is an abundance of free webinars, especially over this time. I mean, here we all sit in one, case in point, and there's so many podcasts to upskill yourself at no cost. So I think sometimes, unless there's we've got to kind of figure out how much can I get free and how much do I need guidance on. So sometimes, like, I like what you do, Reinhard, in that there's a lot of free information that you access. And you access information through Audible or Udemy, which are maybe at minimal costs. But you have a mentor and you have someone who is guiding your thinking, because again, there's so much that is out there that sometimes it's really helpful to have someone who's ahead of you in the field, or someone who will challenge your thinking and be honest with you, so that what you do spend your time on, and your money, if you're going to spend money, is something that's relevant. Because otherwise you can just get lost in all of the information that's out there.
And Jane, the other thing is everybody's going to sell you their course, so as you say, there are a million of things in any field, so, and I spoke to a friend of mine, Mark Lamour, and Mark is an investment analyst, very, very good at it. And he works for a company for many, many, many years. And I spoke to him about the board, non-executive director. And he said, Reinhard, this is what you need. So I could go onto Google and get lost.
Yeah.
I said, Mark, what do I do? Mark says, I'll look at it and I'll forward you what you need. Because how we look at companies when investing, we actually look at the board members and who they are and how they think, because they're not just quantitative investment, they're qualitative. So they look at the value add that people and systems and stuff have when they choose stocks and shares in companies. So he says, that's a good thing. Go and do this course. Here's the link, Otherwise, exactly. I would do is the best advert on Google will catch my eye. And if it's orange, I probably would have done it, so... I don't think the one I'm doing is orange, because Mark Lamour said, Reinhard, do this one.
No, exactly. And you can waste so much time sourcing something out there and then even get halfway through it and think, oh, no, this isn't relevant, or this isn't very good, or it's not very well taught. So it's so valuable to have that mentor or that person who's ahead of you, or a coach, or someone who's willing to challenge you and guide you and say, here, look here, spend your time and money on this. Love that.
Yeah. And surround yourself with people, Jane, like you said, that can challenge you in a safe space. Yeah, if you surround yourself with people who's naysayers, and not naysayers, just say yes, yes, yes is the other thing. Not naysayers, they just agree with you on everything. Well, how then you're gonna just listen to your own story. You're not, you're not gonna learn.
Absolutely. So as Yolandi said, sources will find reviews. Vanessa agreeing there. So yeah, absolutely, you'll go and find the reviews. But yeah, I think it also depends on your personality. If you're someone who's quite passive, it's easy to just go with what the strongest personality says. But if you're a strong personality, then there's not always people who are going to challenge you and who are going to speak the truth to you, because they might be a little bit nervous or cautious around you.
Yeah.
So you've also got to think about your own personality and what you need to be able to grow. So I think, yeah, that also speaks to your next point there. How can I keep myself motivated? Sure, the amount of things, if we could all count about what we've started and then stopped before finishing it, there might be quite a long list.
Yes, I can take my tablet here. There is a Udemy course on how to play the harmonica, but that's more you and the children that forces me to stop it. Witnesses on this call that they abuse me. I love the noise that I make, but apparently my family doesn't. So, what I wanted to say to motivate it is to organize it. Self-organized. Get organized about it. Make treat it like a project plan. Have a schedule when so sometimes we bite off bigger than we can chew. So now you know why you do it. You found the resources in budget. It is relevant. You got the advice. Okay, now actually start then a project plan that's realistic. Set those. We all know the SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So there you go. Set yourself those goals, work out a schedule. When can you realistically do it? Some of us as kids, so our kids it needs attention. Some are older, some are younger, some don't have kids. That's also okay, but you have other things, so be realistic about what you can do when, but build a schedule. If you're just going to do it haphazardly, you're going to have a lot of harmonica courses, on your tablet. So decide what you want to do, whatever it's do, and then build a process that could work for you, and build some accountability in it. Yeah, otherwise it's just another thing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I definitely see with the people around me, the people who do best in terms of what they're learning and in terms of staying motivated are the people who do build some kind of accountability in. Because there are few personalities who have the discipline to be able to stay motivated and hold themselves accountable, and that's enough. I mean, I know there are some of those out there, but for a lot of us, we need someone to say, hey, how's it going? And to have conversations about the learning, because I think when we learn, as we know from a coaching perspective, when you listen to something and when you say it, and when you hear someone else say it back to you, there's a whole new layer of learning that goes in with that. Exactly. So it's important to not just think learning is just listening or just reading. It's about putting it into practice, reflecting on that, discussing it, trying it out, coming back saying, what worked, what didn't work, what do I need to keep doing, what do I need to adjust. That process is so important.
Yes, which brings you basically made point 5, So
wow, thank you.
It's really it, So it is you do the course, but some courses you do, you can actually write a test, where edX or Udemy or whatever it is, and you get a certificate, and that's one way of doing it. And, but other things, even if it does do that, see how you, as you said, can apply it, you can do it either by yourself, having reflective journals, but also talk to other people. I try my views because I work with humans and how we are motivated and thinking. And I talk to a lot of other people, and they say, "Oh, Reinhard, that's very easy, interesting. But have you thought about this? I know you read this wonderful thing about philosophy, but will it work in this instance or not?" And so that really helps. It's I get people like Prof. Lowe or Hugo, friends of mine who I can do that with before I apply it in real life, with clients. So get a challenge or see how it works, apply it. If you do something like building a cabinet, a new saw, it's a little bit easy. If you cut it skew, the thing breaks and costs lots of money. You maybe learn a little bit quicker that way. But whatever it is, make sure that you can measure it. See your progress, and it gives you satisfaction. It really gives you satisfaction. It's not. This is something, a knowledge and a skill you can apply. So yeah.
No, I love that, and I think it's so true what you say. Some things you can learn and try out confidently, but some things you want to practice before you try it out, because the odds are too great that if you make a mistake in that context, it's either going to be a really negative impact on you or on other people or whatever the case may be. So some things do need some trial and discussion before you bring it out into the public eye or try it out with a client.
No, totally.
Okay. So Reinhard, with all of these things, you've got to keep reflecting. You've got to keep measuring back to what you originally set out and say, okay, am I still on track? Have I got distracted along the way? Maybe have my goals changed? Am I still learning? And as Emily was saying, definitely needing to set out time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But with the achievement, I mean, I know I've done career coaching. I know that you've done a lot of career coaching. You were speaking about the people that you were with yesterday and how they, I think, entered into I love the story that their manager actually shared. She said that she spoke to them the day before they were going to be coached by you. And they said, "Oh, we're so excited to see Reinhard tomorrow. We can't wait to hear what he has to tell us." Almost as if you had this magic crystal ball and you knew them already and you were going to just pitch up and tell them, this is what you need to learn, this is what you need to do. What is that?
I'm a little pot of answers,
So. Date syrup. For your coffee. Yes. But I think it was so helpful that she said to them, no, Reinhard is actually going to ask you questions, and those questions are going to unlock your thinking, and you're going to be able to find your own solutions. And I think that's what I love about coaching is people come away saying, thank you. You didn't just tell me what to do and something that works for you. You ask questions that help me find the solution in the context of me, my personality, my values, what I want to learn, where I want to grow.
Yeah.
And yesterday you said that was, I mean, I don't know the details because of course coaching is confidential, but you said those people really got unstuck. They really found their next level. So what about coaching or career coaching helps people to move forward in their learning?
Well, I think, Jane, and I coach people of literally all ages. I mean, I had somebody now just recently, an hour ago, left 59. So yesterday I coached people 32. Other days I coach people that's this morning I coached somebody that's 23. So I mean, yeah, it's all literally all ages, and we're all in different stages of life, and there's different needs and things we have. And I think that having a career, somebody who looks after your career in your life, you don't have to see them every day. It's not like 8 sessions and there you go. Some of coaching is like that, right? It's a sort of just a short thing. I remember I've coached people. A client, I think specifically, and she's in the East at this stage, either Cambodia but we've walked past over 8 years, and
Wow.
sometimes a year passed and she didn't see me, but then she would phone and say, Reinhard, can we have a session? Because I worked with her in her development of where she wanted to go. Other people I see for one session, and although the lady I spoke about it, probably over 8 years, I probably saw her 12 times, but it's helping her develop as a person and her career. And there's a lot of things that had to change. So self-organized learning, a career coach is just somebody who doesn't drive it. It's just somebody to check in with. Because part of the self-organized learning is what we talked about, the peers, the tutors, the mentors. The coach is somebody you can maybe start in the beginning with, and through the time maybe have a check-in here and there, and sort of now we've finished a course, a degree, how you're going to apply it. But it doesn't have to be somebody who's going week for week with you. But and I am a coach, but I have people who look and help me through my career that I check in with very regularly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're constantly learning as well, and that to be the best you can be for other people, you need to constantly be growing and getting your own learning. And I like what you said, Reinhard, as well, about how the example of the person you coached over 8 years, how it wasn't just about work, it was also about life. Because I think that's something we've really seen during this time is, I know Vanessa always talks about it as the kind of, there's no longer necessarily a work-life balance that people talk about. It's more work-life integration. And so during this time, and especially with people working remotely, that line between work and life has become thinner and thinner and kind of woven into one another. And I think employers are acknowledging if people are going to be good at their work, it means that they need to be healthy at home as well. And something we were talking about in the global conference last week is that a change in employers has been that they used to only really care about productivity, but now part of being a good leader and a good employer is caring about how people are doing at home and not just at work. So I love that kind of holistic approach, that it's not just one piece of your pie in your life that helps you to do well. It's addressing every aspect of your person, because there isn't anything that doesn't relate to another part.
But Jen, I like the word you used, holistic. And it's a very interesting word, depending who and I like the word holistic, but some of friends of mine or associates, I would use holistic. They go, oh, Rana, that's weird. It's like mumbo jumbo, it's like, it's just, their view of things, but you're so true. What is performance? Let's talk about Usain Bolt. I think most people would know Usain Bolt is he probably still can sprint, but Olympic sprinter, world record holder still for 200 and 100 meters, right? So is his performance just the time he spent on the track training? Surely not. It's what he ate. It's his relationships, his social, everything makes him a brilliant sprinter. Not just the time on the track, how he thinks, how he rests, everything. And so, yes, how do you perform at work? Everything makes you perform at work. So holistic isn't the mumbo jumbo about, but is it really aligned? Of course it's aligned, because everything is aligned. You as a person rock up at work. So
Exactly. And we've even seen during this time, as Stanley is saying, you can't separate mind, body, and soul. And sometimes we've seen, over the past few months, the people who've been able to continue in their career, and I'm not saying continue in their career as in still have employment, because that's a little bit out of people's control, but continue showing up in life is often not directly related to whether they're employed or not, but to how they think and how they feel and their holistic health. And those are the things that are influencing how people are doing.
But Jane, the other thing, we talk self-organized learning. Let's talk about people. The person I saw just now, 59, preparing to, he never really wants to retire. He enjoys his profession and wears in. But I think about your dad, you know, maybe the last day he was formally employed in his field was 58. But we all know he's still very much part of the field because he reads about investments and he goes on courses. And I think that's the other thing about self-organized learning. As you get older, your mind needs to be sharp, you know, to you know, this thing about where, you know, people retired, got a watch and sit and you know, I'm stereotyping again, you know, with males sit and catch fish and still by on the beach, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen, you know. It's being sharp, it's having interest. So even self-organized learning is preparing for the next stage in life, not just in your career. Maybe you're a young family, you're preparing to maybe have children, adopt children, whatever it is, or you're single and now you're going to be with a partner in your life, you know. It's a different stage. So it's not just work that you need to prepare for in a self-organized learning space, but also for life. And I love that you raised that.
Yeah, that's true. And thanks for mentioning my dad. I think he's a great example. At 80 years old, he still goes to all the UCT summer schools and signs up for lectures all the time. Can't get him online a lot, but he's, you know, but he's still a learner.
He learns in different ways, yeah.
Yes.
But he learns.
But yeah, so I love, thank you, Yolanda. I love what you're sharing there. The interesting remark from Dr. Mostert, future studies, on-demand and knowledge economy instead of a labor economy, that we need to prepare for this. So I think that probably talks a little bit to what you were asking about, Stanley, in terms of what do we need to learn about, what's most important for the future. So Reinhard, are there any other comments that you want to make before we open up to questions and discussion?
No, the only thing is I want to encourage people to learn, you know, to read, never stop, you know, even if you don't want to do it for your career, just for your own personal development, is to really, you get so much mental energy of being a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And joy. So.
Yes, and as Kaz says, you can teach an oldie new tricks.
You can indeed.
See, she didn't use the term an old dog new tricks. That's normally
I'll take dog. Yeah, we can definitely open it up if there's any.